Hi there and welcome to your Wilderness Therapy. My name's Dan and today I'm going to talk to you about how to deal with anxiety. Now, anxiety is a feeling of worry or nervousness about an uncertain situation or outcome. When you break it down logically in the definition, you think, well, why am I worried about something that hasn't happened yet and might not happen? But it's not as simple as that when you're someone who suffers from anxiety. And anxiety can come on as a result of a number of different things. You could get relationship anxiety when you're simply waiting for your partner to respond to a text message. You could have anxiety associated with a stressful situation. Maybe you've got a big presentation to do at work and you're anxious about how it might turn out. It could be as a result of trauma. You might be in a car accident and obviously then you're going to be anxious about getting back in the car in case that happens again. But this can manifest itself to such an extent that you become anxious about seemingly trivial things that you do on a day-to-day basis. And for that reason, people who struggle with anxiety can find it really crippling just to go about their daily tasks. So it's really important to know how you can cope with anxiety and how you can better manage it, which is why I've put this video together to break down in 8 different steps the best things you can do to deal with your anxiety. Number 1 on the list is breath work. Breath work is something that you can use anytime, anywhere, once you know how to do it. It's just about calming down the mind and body using your breath. It sounds really basic, it sounds really simple, but it's so effective because with anxiety, it triggers your sympathetic nervous system, which is your fight or flight response. This is a system that's been inbuilt with us for hundreds of thousands of years. Say, for example, back in the day, we'd be going out on a hunt to take out a big woolly mammoth for dinner. You knew there was a risk of injury or even death. That would cause anxiety within us, which makes a lot of sense, doesn't it? Whereas now we often see threats or react to normal situations as if there's a danger when there clearly isn't. Breathing, however, brings you back into the present moment and allows you just to focus on the fact that you are receiving oxygen and that you are okay and you are still alive, because some of the symptoms of anxiety are shortness of breath, elevated heart rate and increased blood pressure and that muscular tension. When we slow our breath down and we focus on each breath very relaxed and very centered in that moment, your heart rate comes down, your breathing rate slows down, and that muscular tension is reduced, because what you're doing in that situation is you're activating your parasympathetic nervous system, which offsets your sympathetic nervous system, easy for you to say, that has been triggered by the anxiety, and that promotes a more calm approach and helps bring you into that present. So I'm not a breathwork coach. I'll put a link on here to somebody who is, and I'd highly recommend using them because they can give you a breathwork routine that you can stick to based on your symptoms and based on your specific needs. I would recommend physiological sighs, which is where you take an intake of breath in through your nose, sharp intake, another inhale at the top of the move, and then hold for a second and then release through your mouth, and just do that 3 to 10 times at any point during the day when you feel like you're being triggered, and it'll instantly take the edge off those anxious feelings. Number 2 on the list is to make a plan. Anxiety itself is a worry of a future-based problem, whereas if you make a plan, you make the future a bit more predictable, and that creates this reassuring philosophy. If you know what's coming, you're less likely to worry about it, and just writing it down in your journal or just collaborating it in your brain can create some kind of structure to the next hour, to the next day, to the next week, and that really is reassuring because anxiety can be unpredictable. So predictable things that are goalposts throughout your day and your week will really help manage that. Number 3 on the list is positive self-talk. Your brain and body believe what you tell it, and that is not some crazy hippie-induced notion. This has been proven by science. Your words are powerful, and if you constantly talk down to yourself, you're going to feel down. So you need to big yourself up and you need to tell yourself that you're going to be okay. So when you experience an anxiety, just say to yourself, everything's going to be okay. just remain calm, I've got this. Just something simple like that. You can come up with your own phrases, but it's about encouraging you to get through the next moment. Let's say, for example, you're competing in a marathon and you've got a couple of miles to go and you're starting to feel really tired. You're not sure you're going to make it. If you start saying to yourself, oh my God, my legs are knackered, I'm not going to do this, I'm not going to make this, guess what? You feel even more tired, and the chances are you're probably not going to make it. But if you say to yourself, come on, Dan, I've got this, just 2 more miles to go, you reframe it with a positive mindset, it has the opposite effect, and the chances are you're going to smash it to the end. So that works in day-to-day situations. And another thing you can do is just look back on the day that you've had and think about the situations that you were anxious about, and just say to yourself, well, how did they turn out? Were they as bad as I thought? Because the chances are your assumptions of how something is going to be is a lot worse than how it actually is. And then it reminds you that, oh, all that anxiety was for nothing because it turned out okay. And that means that the following day, when you have other things that you might be anxious for, over time you realise that maybe that anxiety isn't justified. Number 4 on the list is get busy spending time with your friends and family, doing the things you love. These are really healthy distractions. They bring you into the present moment. Remember what I said, anxiety is a future-based fear. So anything that can take you back into that present moment, like the things I've already listed, will really help you. So when you're with your family, you tend to just be enjoying yourself, or doing the things that you love, or talking about the things you love, or talking about the things you need to talk about because they're there to listen. And even if you're talking to them about your anxiety, that can be quite cathartic and that can help. And the same goes for your friends. Friends often encourage that play aspect, and play takes you back to being a child when you didn't have many worries and you weren't anxious about things. So spending time with those people and doing things that you love is really, really effective. Takes your mind away from the other problems, and it can really prevent overthinking on things. Number 5 on the list is something that occurs in almost all of the therapy advice that I will ever give, because it is what we evolved to do. We're upright creatures and we're supposed to be active. So number 5 is exercise. Once again, it brings you to the present moment. If you're lifting weights, you have to be 100% focused on your form when you're lifting them. Otherwise, you're going to risk injury or even death. If you're doing the bench and your mind starts to wander and you drop that barbell, bang, it's coming down your neck and it's game over. So it brings you totally into the present moment. And guess what? In the short term, exercise elevates your heart rate, elevates muscular tension, increases your blood pressure, and means you get some shortness of breath. But in the long term, those things are reduced, and that then counteracts the feelings that you get when you're anxious. Not to mention the fact that our body is made of chemicals, and when we exercise, we produce certain chemicals. We produce endorphins that improve our mood. We produce the happiness hormone, serotonin, and also the reward hormone, dopamine. So your body tells you when it's happy with what you're doing. If you're exercising, your body's happy for it, and so it produces genuine dopamine as opposed to false dopamine of scrolling through your phone and watching other people live their lives. The other thing is, often people experience like avoidance from situations when they have anxiety. Let's say, for example, someone's scared of walking into a room full of people. They might want to avoid it because they get so anxious over it, what people think of them, how everyone's going to react to them, all these things that 99% of the time are completely false. But when you exercise, it gives you a bit of confidence. And when you have a bit more confidence, you walk into a room with a bit more confidence, and that means there's less chance of being as anxious. So that's the other side effect of exercise: boosts your confidence and therefore reduces the anxiety that you're going to feel. So it's twinfold positive impact on your life, exercise. So always try and factor it in, no matter what you do, whether it's intense exercise or just going for a walk out in the natural world. Number 6 on the list is stress management and relaxation techniques. So here I'm talking about things like yoga, go Tai Chi, go for a spa, have a massage, some aromatherapy. It's where you've got a block of time that you're focusing on calming your mind and your body. And once again, it's so effective, because if you know you're going for a massage on Friday, it's like you might have had a really tough week, but you look forward to that hour where you just can switch off and relax, and you're in someone else's hands, quite literally, and it can really lower any stress and anxiety altogether in that moment. So just plotting some of these into your daily routine, weekly routine, monthly routine can really counteract that fight or flight response that comes from the feelings of anxiety. Number 7 on the list is to prioritise sleep. When you're anxious, you're overthinking everything, you're worried, your heart's fluttering, you feel totally destabilised. So you need to do the things that really stabilise your nervous system and really help regulate your hormones, and sleep is the best thing for that. Sleep is your best performance enhancing drug you'll ever take. So focusing on just trying to go to bed at the same time each night, get up at the same time in the morning, will help you develop that circadian rhythm and help you get into a pattern where you're more likely to fall asleep when you go to bed. I realise at first it's going to be hard if you're trying to get into a new routine, but you've got to stick with it because the body likes routine. Routine is predictable, and that is quite calming for you. So it's perfect to counteract the unpredictability of the next day and the events that might create the anxiety in the first place. So really try and focus on getting a good night's sleep every day if you can, because sleep is great for restoring all physiological functions and helps consolidate your memory, for example, which helps you feel more in control, which also helps counteract any anxious feelings. Number 8 on the list, and the final thing, is practicing gratitude meditation. It's been proven that just practicing gratitude can actually rewire your brain in a positive way. So we naturally have like a negative outlook on certain things in this world because we're looking for threats. Whereas when you talk about the things you're grateful for, you cancel out those threats because it brings you back to the present once again, and you're actually saying, I'm so lucky that I'm here and I'm able to think about this. I'm so lucky that I woke up today. How lucky that am I that I've got my health. I'm so lucky I've got my family. I'm so lucky I've got my friends. I'm so lucky I've got someone who loves me. I'm so lucky I've got my pet dog. Whatever it is, whatever is applicable to your life, just be grateful of all those small things and say it out loud in the morning or last thing at night, because it is incredibly powerful to both your mind and your body. And if you've got something to be grateful for, you've got something to look forward to, and that makes optimism sustainable. Anxiety is a future-based fear, as I've said a number of times, which is quite a pessimistic outlook. Whereas if you practice gratitude, you create that optimistic outlook, which cancels that out. So we're trying to do that. We're trying to get rid of a negative and replace it with a positive. And there's probably no better way to do that than with gratitude. If you want to follow a meditation podcast, it's really easy to get you into that 5 to 10 minutes. Typically, I recommend the Wake Me Up podcast. I use that off Spotify. I've used that before. It's a really good way of getting you into the practice, and then you can end up developing your own positive affirmations and take it from there. So I'll put a link in that in the video as well. But I really hope some of these things have been helpful to you, and I'll be interested to know if there's anything you've done that's helped you as well. Please leave that in the comments. And I realise that everyone's situation is different. Everyone's anxiety is caused by different things, whether it be childhood or traumatic events. So only by working with you on a one-to-one basis can I help you specifically. So don't be afraid to reach out to me. You can get me at dan@yourwilderness.therapy.com. I don't know whether I did that the right way, maybe that way. I'll get the hang of this at some point. And we can work on a one-to-one basis and really nail down into your specific needs and the specific issues that you're dealing with right now, and how we can best manage those so that you can embrace this life fully and make the most of this future that you have, as opposed to being anxious or worried about it. So I really appreciate you watching this video. I hope it's been helpful to you. Please click the like and subscribe button. That'll encourage me to make more videos like this, and keep watching the channel, because hopefully there'll be some further tips and guidance on various issues that you might be experiencing on a day-to-day basis that I can hopefully help you with. So thanks again for watching. You're going to be okay. You've got this.